Today I'm going to be reviewing a little bit of what happened on Commander Night this Friday, and I'm going to be showing you a deck I played all night. Played 5 games. It's Infinite Guideline Station. It's a 5 color blink deck. Um, just to start off, a little bit of critique. Um, Garth One Eye is another good blink commander, and there's some other options that are like more like tribal themed, but I didn't play him because I found I would continue to use strategies where I'd get him out, and then I'd want to blink him and do things with him more than other things. It's sort of like like a crush to lean on. So decided to try this, even though this is less optimal. It can do some other things, although my deck doesn't really support the token generation too much. But it can draw me cards. Did me that once that night, and yeah. So I'll just get into it. Really familiar. I play Command Tower, Mana Confluence, Exotic Orchard, Reflecting Pool, City of Brass. A new one is Abundant Countryside. I think this one might go up someday in the future because it is like a land that taps for any color for a creature deck, and it supports non-creature things. So it's like there isn't any card like it. And the World Tree. And we also play at Scavenging Grounds. Just as I found myself needing another 37th land. I'm like, I'll play this. Some graveyard hate. Why not? In this locals I go to, there isn't really any graveyard center decks, so it's kind of hard to. A lot of it's really just like battle cruiser high bracket 2, low bracket 3 decks. There isn't really much going on. And then I got 10 Shocklands, 10 fetch lands, we got 4 tri lands. We got Rogran Triome, Ketria Triome, Endalva Triome, and Zagoth Triome. And the last cards are just one of each basic land. I don't really have any cards in my deck that actually support basic lands, but I put them in anyways just to see it out. And they didn't really affect the game all that much. There's only one game where I was like kind of struggling for green mana, and uh, I got through luckily with a Ketria Triumph on top. And so the main way this deck plays is it focuses on disruption rather than trying to amass like a huge board state. I play, as you'll see, a lot of cards that are new over the past year that remove all abilities from a creature, and I found after playtesting that was very powerful. Um, but I'll get into it. So we're gonna get play at Birds of Paradise. I'm doing the ramp next. Bloom Tender, 3 visits, Nature's Lore, Farseek, Wood Elves, Fabor Elder, Yavimaya Dryad, Clifftop Lookout, and Llanowar Visionary. Um, so a lot of these are staples, Bloom Tender, Fabor Elder. I also did like playing Infinite Guideline Station because it doesn't really do much on its own, and it would like act as sort of a ramp for the Fabro and the Bloom Tender. I focused on mostly land ramp because I didn't want to. This deck plays under the radar when people don't know it, so I didn't want to have to deal with board wipes and whatnot, sort of blow me out of the water. Because this deck can sometimes be feast or famine. Like he'll get a lot of draw, he'll keep getting stuff, and other times you'll just be like sort of putzing around. As you can notice, there's only 4 cards in the ramp package that actually have entered battlefield abilities, and that's Wood Elves, Yavimaya Dryad, Clifftop Lookout, and Llanowar Visionary. I haven't tried Visionary yet. It does look kind of mediocre on the start, but I like having a bunch of cards that just draw me 1 card as incidental, so then I have a backup just in case I run out of like card draw cards, or I just don't really have anything to flicker or blink. Um, and then the 3 ramp guys, I didn't want to play too many because I thought that would be make the deck a little too slow. You could make him just play those and then play Karuga as a partner. I mean, companion, and I think that would be a neat little thing to try. I might go that direction eventually. I think I've done it before, but these ones get all the shocklands and trilands, and the cliff top just gets anything, but it's guaranteed. As I've played Elvish, I think it's Rejuvenator. You look at the top five and put one into play tapped, and I've missed with that a good number of times before, especially when it was crucial. So I feel that I still feel that burn a little bit. So that's why I didn't play Ignis Santia too. But there are what is it? I think it's Farhaven Elf. I forget. Um, and then there's also Tajaru, speaker of the. I mean, Satina, speaker of Tajaru, and there's one other one or two. Topiary Stomper. I could play those, and I do have the basics in them, but I didn't want to like run out. And these games I played, one of the main blink targets I would go for is the um, blink land blinkers, and I'm glad I did that. Put them in the deck because they're really overperforming in my opinion. Um, so that's it for the ramp. We will go next to removal and interaction. So I only played one counter spell in this deck. Usually I try to play a bunch, but it can be kind of clunky and weird when you're playing with them. Even though there are better options like Fear of Imposters and whatnot lately that cost pretty aggressively. Um, but you'll see, I'll explain why. So we got Abigail, Eloquent First Year, Skyclave Apparition, Deadpool Trading Card, Damage Control Crew, Witch Enchanter, Venser Shaper Savant, Legate Lanius, Lizard Connor's Curse, Fury, Shieldred, Riptide Gearhulk, Malik, Grim Manipulator, Primaris Executioner, or Eliminator, and Curious Colossus. So I do play a little bit more interaction than normal. Like I said, Venser is the only real counter spell I have in the deck. It is very powerful. I've played it over the years, a very long time. He can hit lands, he can hit spells, and if you have a enter the battlefield doubler out, he can bounce himself, so you have like a reoccurring counter spell in a way. It is a little expensive, but I didn't build my deck around it. It just happens to be there, and I thought, why not play him? You can also play like Spider Bite, or Manowar, which do the same thing, but except no spells, only creatures. Um, and I'll go over the other cards. So Abigail, Deadpool, and Lizard. Each make a creature have no abilities. Deadpool is obviously the best one because it also makes him lose 3 life every turn. But um, there's also Curious Colossus, which won me multiple games, and a very powerful card. The thing I've never tried these cards here. Really, they're pretty brand new. They're from last year and this year. Um, and I'm glad it's a space that they're delving into. It's sort of like back in the day with the Commander Tuck rule, where you could play like, um, what was it? The 2 mana blue creature. You could pay 3 and tap it to shuffle it entire creature into the library. But back then, when I was first playing, like the first 5 years or so, you couldn't put your commander into command zone if that happened. So there was like you had to find it, and then you had to get it out and cast it. Same thing for these. First they have to kill it, and then they have to cast it. It's not just so simple. People could make deals with, like Curious Colossus, but then you're still killing their board. Doesn't matter, any of the other creatures they have are stuck there too. So it's like, do they really want to have no creatures, or do they want to have um, blockers in case something big comes out? Um, played Abigail a little bit. I think each of these are very powerful in their own right. I think Lizard's the only one that haven't played yet. I assume it's basically the same, but I probably could cut Fury out of this deck list. Witch Enchanter's also a land, so I'll just keep that. Everything else is sort of, and if you don't know Lanius, everyone sacrifices a tenth of their creature. Every opponent sacrifices a tenth of their creatures rounded up, and that is one if it's less than 10. So, Primaris, Executioner, or Eliminator, yeah, Eliminator, my bad, um, does a good Massacre Worm impression. That's another card I often play in these decks. Mallet Grim Manipulator is also very powerful. I get to play with Riptide Gearhulk. I assume that's good. Damage Control Crew um, is actually in here for a very specific reason. Not just because it exiles something, but it can also bring back recursion pieces. And it also brings back Lae'zel's Acrobatics and Semester's End for flicker loops. So you just like flicker him and some other things with it, and then he comes back and he brings those back to your hand. I used to play Eternal Witness a lot to fill that slot and Timeless Witness, but those cards are very very like corner case. I mean, they're only really good after you're like a board wipe or some removal, and you're not even guaranteed to get destroy removal. Sometimes swords and stuff like that. So a lot of times in the past, they would just sit there in my hand and do nothing. Unless you have a deck built around stuff. Like I used to have the Revi deck that played Skull Clamp and Birthing Pod, but that's different, you know. He fits two roles. He gets exile something, or he recurs back a lot of my creatures and whatnot, and no spells. So, this deck's a little bit slower on the flicker end or blink end than like my Aminatou deck, which can sometimes get out a lot in one turn. Because you're not guaranteed to blink in the command zone like you are with Aminatou. But a lot of these cards still do put forth their weight or pull their weight regardless. So, but Fury might be a little too niche. I generally want to have some creatures out, so I have blockers just in case. But Shieldred and Lanius, Shieldred I've played in the past. He's very good. Mallet Grim Manipulator can get 2 for 1/1 sometimes and creates tokens. Might also take out the Apparition, Skyclave Apparition, and put something else in. Or I might just take these out. After these games, I feel like I had a lot of interaction, and some of this stuff, I'd rather probably have more blink abilities or just like good stuff cards. So, anyways, that's the interaction suite. There's only 2 board wipes in there, sort of. Before we get to the core of the deck, we'll go through like draw cards. Like Coiling Oracle, Aether Channeler, Flagon, Lord of the Beach, Risen Reef, I'm blanking here. Generous Patron, Dream Entrancer, Cloud Blazer, Garuga the Macro Sage, Kefka Court Mage, and Muldrifter. Now, a couple of these cards only draw you 1 card, which is fine because especially if you're playing, I want to be able to draw cards regardless, but I only chose these 3, the Aether Channel, the Core, and the Oracle, and Risen Reef, because they, at least if it's a land card that comes into play, or I have more flexibility with bouncing things and creating tokens with the Aether Channeler. I do think that I probably could take the Aether Channeler out. I do like the Quelling Oracle and the Risen Reef because of the land ramping, but another card I might take out is Kefka, because the one time I did play Kefka, it was really it didn't really feel that powerful. I only draw 2 cards, and I don't think the disrupting the opponent's hand is that powerful in the deck. So, I have done that in Aminatou. There is like with like Blinking Kaya, Ghost Assassin, and stuff like cards like that. Disinformation Campaign. It's really powerful. That deck's more grindy. This is a little bit more like a snowball deck. That deck is more about getting incremental advantage every turn, This deck's more about getting a big field and then suddenly being out of control. Um, the win cons are a little different too. This one is more about controlling the field, and that one is about. Well, I guess it's about the same. Um, Dream to Entrancers also act as a removal spell in a way. Um, so yeah, I'll probably take out Aether Channeler and the Kefka, but maybe I'll keep Aether Channeler in. I'll probably put in one more draw card too. I might. There's a bunch of. I've been like lately. I've been like writing down all the stuff, and I have all the draw cards. Where are they? Here, I highlighted the ones I liked. I know my writing's not that good, but whatever. But I could play a bunch of other ones. Voice of Many. Um, yeah, so there are a lot of other options, and but I had to try something, so I'm like, I put this deck together in one night after I researched all of it, and I'm glad I got to play it. So, Playgon could also draw you extra cards. That's why he's here. Like, you got Generous Patron, you got Dream to Entrancer, Clifftop Lookout. So, it does seem unassuming at first, but it can go pretty crazy with the card draw. Now, we got two more sections. We got the Blink and Enter the Battlefield trigger package, and then we got the um, just like core like generic cards package, like win cons, just generic support. Aether Channeler was in there when I put this like little list together, but I think it's more of a draw card to be honest. Okay, we got Airbender's Ascension. We got Felia, Exuberant Shepherd, Kirill Attendant First Year, Mist Meadow Vanisher, Soul Herder, Starfield Vocalist, Mardu Siegebreaker, Bragocane Eternal, Panharmonicon, Lae'zel's Acrobatics, Semester's End, Emil the Blessed, Restoration Angel, Yorian Sky Nomad, Yorick's Desecrator, Yasholta Rule, and Mirror Room, and slash Fractured Realm. Now, as you'll notice here, there isn't any Blink Instants and Sorceries in this deck, other than Semester's End and Lae'zel's Acrobatics. And I didn't do any of the cheaper ones, solely because they work with Damage Control Crew. I didn't want to have a Eternal Witness or Timeless Witness in the deck just for that synergy there. If you don't really know what the synergy is, you can, if you have like a Seedborn Muse, which I don't play in this deck, you can blink every turn, sometimes multiple times a turn of these cards, and it will. What am I thinking? You'll get a lot of value and board control out of it. Let's see here. Card thoughts. I haven't played Airbender's Ascension yet. I don't know how good it is. I think if this didn't have the airbend ability on it, this card would be pretty mid. It's a little bit harder in this deck, even though this deck gets a lot of payoff from it. It's a little bit harder, I think, to get 4 creatures out, especially if it's later in the game. But sometimes you get two. Felia and Mist Meadow Vanisher. Mist Meadow I put in because it synergizes with Infinite Guideline Station, and it can target Infinite Guideline Station too, which is neat. But I might take that out. Felia is just really cheap, but they basically both do the same thing when they attack. So maybe they're both good. I'll probably keep them in just to try them out more, but I'm not sure how good they are in like Commander in general. Kirill Attendant First Year, I've gotten this out a bunch of times in the Elemental deck and in this deck, and it works very powerfully. It's a very powerful card, and it's very flexible because you can copy, like I've copied a Mardu Siegebreaker trigger once. We got Soul Herder, obviously classic Blink card, Mirror Room and Fractured Realm. I put this in here because it is flexible in terms of what you can do, and I have played Fractured Realm in other decks in the past, and it just sort of took over the game. Starfield Vocalist, which is just a doubler. Mardu Siegebreaker. The card's even better than Myriad because it creates one token for each opponent, and it does it the same turn it comes in. I think it's just a very powerful card. I use it with Curious Colossus. And another cool thing about Curious Colossus is instead of like what I like started doing was instead of spewing out like it doesn't have abilities, I just called the creatures it affects cowards, which I think is a pretty cool thing. Anyways, this card is very powerful for Blink and other related strategies, and it also doesn't exile in the turn, so it could be good in graveyard strategies too. Brago is a classic, Paramount classic. Y'shtola Rule is really powerful. I played her every single game. She gave me a ton of value and board control when I played her. Um, I'm very happy about her. First time playing her is in this deck. We got Emily the Blessed. I wanted to have just one on turn. Um, one at will blink creature, and I think Emil is probably the best one. Not but it is the blessed one, but it's also probably the best one. As it comes down pretty cheap, you don't have that big. You don't have to like save 8 mana just to protect your Deadeye Navigator. If they want to kill it, it's 4 mana. It doesn't that big of a deal. This deck isn't really built around instant speed too much. Um, Actually, I don't know why I put them in this area. We also got Stunt Double and Wax and Shape Thief. Um, so there is. I did want to include some uh, like instant speed interaction in these decks. And I thought these would be best with the Restoration Angel because these can copy Risen Reef, which I did do one game, and that was pretty powerful. And just being able to do whatever creature you need at instant speed for 4 mana is pretty okay. You can copy opponent's creatures too, I think. Yeah, for the only for the stunt double though. And we got Yorion Sky Nomad, another card that we can blink to blink our entire field. In the past, when Lumbering Battlement first came out, I thought I played with that. I call it the Blink Bus, and that was a very powerful effect when we got it out. But you need a lot of pieces. First of all, you need the bus. Then you need like Eternal Witness thing, and then you need like payoff creatures, and that's a lot of pieces to put together. When this one you just play it and it exiles all of them. Abdel Adrian, Gorian's Ward is the other card I'd play that fits this slot. Um, but yeah, I just had to play one of them, um, or the Angel one. I forget what that one's called. And then Yarok the Desecrated is another doubler. I'm probably going to put in. Going to try to make, as you can probably see if you have a close eye, these a lot of proxies are here. I'm going to try to make it a real deck and buy all the cards I need for it. I have the blue 5 mana enchantment doubler, is what it's called, and I'm going to put that in this deck and take out a bunch of things. I think mostly all these cards here are good. Um, it's only some of the cards you'll see in the next part that aren't, and some of the ones I've explained already before, which aren't really up to snuff. Okay. And last but not least, we got the sort of generically good stuff. We got Omnath, Locus of Creation, Thragtusk, Lavinia of the 10th, Roxanne Starfall Savant, Kodama of the East Tree, Aurora Awakener, Dusk Mangler, Crater Behemoth, and Moonshaker Cavalry. So you can see 3 of my win conditions are here. We got Dusk Mangler, Crater Behemoth, and Moonshaker Cavalry. These weren't really that good because I don't play any token creators in this deck besides Roxanne, which that's non-creatures. These aren't really that powerful. You definitely want to be playing, if you're playing them, a what was it called? Avenger of Zendikar. I would rather take these out, put Perforos in or something else, to like copy with the Dust Mangler, but really the Curious Colossus, after I got that on the Siege Breaker, that sort of just won me the game outright. And I'm just thinking maybe I'll just make this a grindy deck without a real like I win button win condition, just a little bit more consistent. So yeah, I won one game of Craterhoof, but it was really after I got board control that I came through. So it wasn't really winning with it; it was just quickening the game state. Um, but these are really expensive. Even if this deck ramps a lot when it gets going, even if you're ramping, it's really sort of out of control cost right there. So I'm probably not going to play them. I'm taking them out. Dust Mangler is a classic from Aminatou. You can end Aminatou. You have the propensity because you're controlling the board and you're saving your big spells for like a Dust Mangler or something like that um, to sort of just win the game in a turn or two. So since this deck is a lot more like grindy and slower than like the burst potential of Aminatou, Dust Mangler hasn't been doing as well, but it still has an impact. If you don't know what it does, an additional cost to play it, you have to pay for life, discard a card, or sack a creature. Only one or the any of the three. And then when it enters, each opponent sacks a creature, discards a card, and loses 4 life. So that can be like after two of them, sacking 2 creatures, discarding 2 cards, losing 8 life. It becomes a real backbreaker to deal with. This is a card that I'd want with Deadeye Navigator or Emil, um, or maybe even that Frog. I might put that Frog in this deck that pay 1 blue green to flicker something, even though it's sorcery speed. Um, some other thoughts on other cards. Kodama, I'm trying in here. I didn't want this deck to be like super break neck about like getting out a shitload of creatures with like this or Green Sun Zenith or something. Um, so I didn't want to play this, but I guess I'm doing that. But I'm playing Aurora Awakener. If you don't know what Aurora Awakener is, it's 7 mana for a 7/7 Trampler, and when it enters, it has Vivid. You reveal until you get uh, X non-land X permanents from the top of your library, where X is the number of colors you control, and then you put them onto the battlefield. And I think this card is really powerful, but I have yet to play it. I didn't see any of those games. And these both sort of cheat out things. I'm hoping the Roar Awakener just makes it so like I'm getting a whole bunch of cards out real quick. Um, I guess Kodama does that too. I have noticed that I haven't drawn as many cards as I thought I would. The last time I made a Blink deck, I made Aminatou, and I had like Wall of Omens and all that stuff in there, Baleful Strix. And I felt like more of a pain, more of a task to blink those cards to draw cards. So I think I need more burst draw in this deck instead of just singleton draw. But I'm still going to keep the Coiling Oracle and the Risen Reef in just for the ramp. Then we got Roxanne. This card's kind of unassuming at first, but if you get a doubler in, you get 2 meteors, and each of them deal 2 damage twice. So I think this card's really powerful with a doubler. Otherwise, it's good, but it's not overwhelmingly good. Um, and then Lavinia. This is a classic Link card for me. I don't see many people play it, or anyone really. That and Dusk Mangler. I don't know why they're not played more often, but suffice it to say, this can control the board real quick. But I don't really care about people attacking as much in this deck because I'm not playing Aminatou where I have to protect it, you know? I think this shines a lot more in that kind of a strategy. But I think it's just good in general, but I haven't found a need for it in those games, even though. Mainly because it was like. It would hurt one person, but then all the rest. One guy was playing Elementals, one guy was playing like Mono Black, and another guy was playing Elves. And it hurt the Elves the most, which is good because Elves was running away with the game at times. But then it's like the other guys doesn't do anything, you know. So um, I think this card would be a lot better as like it's sort of like a fog, but you can keep blinking it, which makes it really powerful. Then the last two are Omnath, Locus of Creation. This also draws a card when it enters. It can also ramp me. I'm playing all 10 fetch lands, so I think it's good for that. Sometimes I only play it because sometimes you can just like play it on turn with 5 mana, and then get 5 more mana and play something. And sometimes that's really good, especially since you're drawing a card off it. And the last one is Thragtusk. I've always wanted to play this card. I played this card in the past, like a long time ago. I've always wanted to play it since then, but I've always been too try hard to actually put it in a deck. Because not gonna lie, this card kind of sucks now. It's still like good in its own right, but there was one point in the game, one of the games where I lost, where the guy had Jubilation in the Elemental deck, and I was like, if he's gonna play that and like encore it back, I might be able to get away with surviving if I play this and then blink it twice. So if you just use Tola, but I decided to do something else. So yeah, but 5 life is a lot to blink, and every time you do it, you get a 3/3. So this isn't the worst card. I'll probably keep it in just as a pet card, just because Restoration Angel 2 is also sort of a pet card because of that interaction there. And that's the decks. That's the deck. I don't really think I have anything else to say on it. You'll probably see a lot more Blink decks in the future from me of various kinds, and I'll probably do an updated list after another week or two of playing it. I played 5 games this week, and I really enjoyed playing it a lot, even when I didn't win. So I won 3 games. One was with that Curious Colossus Mardu Siegebreaker interaction where I was just doing it every turn. Another game, I don't really remember. And then the last game, I did do the Crater Hoof to kill someone after Curious Colossus, 2 of the players. And so yeah, Curious Colossus is like the all-star in this deck at the moment. Extremely powerful card. I'm glad that they're over the past like 2 years they've been playing a lot more Blink related things. Because when I first started playing in the past, the most Blink stuff we got was really in the Innistrad sets, and I started at Dragon's Maze. Um, so it was like you really were scrounging for it. There wasn't any Ephemerate, there wasn't even the Essence Flux, and you had Dead Eye Navigator, you had Birthing Pod, with the Revi, and then like, you just use that little tiny blink strategies with Venser or other cards in order to get through. And anyways, I'm not, I guess, gonna speak much more because I don't really remember too much of how the game's played out, but um, I'm not gonna speak much more on this. It's mostly be a deck tech today, and thanks for watching. If you did, leave a like if you care to. And I will be making more videos, probably more randomly than in the past, because than the 3 I released the other day. I do plan to make videos on decks I like, decks that I didn't like. I guess I didn't need to add that part. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye.